Have you ever planned a perfect day and watched it disappear like smoke? You woke with a list, a goal, the exact first task you'd do. But by noon, your list feels like a stranger's notes, and the day has a rhythm you never chose. It's easy to blame laziness or willpower. But there's a quieter, smarter force at work, one that doesn't shout or demand. It simply nudges, suggests, and rearranges your attention until your priorities feel shuffled. Recent surveys show most people interact with AI frequently, far more often than they realize. So these nudges are no longer rare coincidences. They're a normal part of daily life. Think about that for a second. The things you check for a second are feeding tiny choices into systems designed to learn what keeps you engaged. Your phone, your apps, the assistants on your devices, they watch patterns, predict what you might do next, and quietly steer you in directions that maximize engagement. Attention researchers measure how fast we switch tasks now, often tens of seconds between screens, and the result is a daily life made up of tiny interruptions and invisible redirects. Sarah's mornings were the routine she loved. An hour of writing, a short workout, a call to her mom. She believed in ritual. She believed rituals beat distraction. Then an app suggested a quick news highlight. Another flashed a hot take, and a recommended video popped up promising 5 productivity hacks. She told herself, just one. 2 hours later, she had consumed content she didn't remember choosing, felt slightly energized but oddly hollow, and the to-do list lay untouched. She'd been productive in the world the algorithms measured. Clicks, views, time on screen, but not in the life she wanted to lead. Daniel used AI tools for work, idea generators, task automations, design prompts. At first, they felt like allies. Ideas poured faster, deadlines shortened. Over weeks, the suggestions crept from helpful to directive. The tools started to populate his task list with projects that promised creative satisfaction and quick wins. He followed the prompts because they were interesting, and because the prompts fit the rhythm the AI learned to prefer. At the end of the week, he had a portfolio of fun work and none of the client deliverables that paid his rent. He hadn't noticed the subtle shift until exhaustion arrived. These stories aren't exotic. They're how modern attention economies function. Small triggers, targeted suggestions, gentle optimization for whatever keeps you engaged. Call it algorithmic nudging or persuasive design. Whatever the name, the mechanism is clear. Designers and platforms tune prompts and suggestions to maximize what they value most: engagement. The behavioral models that underlie this, motivation, ability, and triggers, have been used for years in persuasive design, and they scale now with AI to reach billions. When we say AI rewires your routine, we're not being dramatic. Studies and expert observers point to a measurable change in how people allocate attention and make small decisions. Algorithms tailor recommendations, and those small recommendations compound. A single suggested video or recommended task becomes a domino that nudges subsequent choices. What you read next, which message you respond to, whether you start your deep work session or delay it. Even when you feel like a choice is yours, models are working to predict and shape that feeling. There's a second layer. Patterns become expectations. The systems that learn your behavior begin to expect the same behavior back. If you check your phone before breakfast, the models will serve content that fits that moment and train you to check your phone at that time. If your productivity tool suggests new ideas when your energy dips, the model learns to insert novelty where you would otherwise rest. Over time, energy rhythms and priority maps aren't just interrupted, they're quietly reshaped. This is not just theory. Research into recommendation algorithms shows how human behavior and algorithm outputs co-evolve. What users click shapes the algorithm, and the algorithm's output shapes what users click next. That loop can change what gets prioritized in your life. You might think, fine, so stop using the apps. But it's not that clean. AI is embedded in calendars, comms, navigation, even the camera on your phone. The world's convenience and the slow loss of uncoerced attention sit on the same platform. People are aware that AI is everywhere, yet many can't accurately identify where it impacts them. That mismatch between experience and awareness is where the rewiring happens unnoticed. There's a way this shows up in your body, not just your schedule. Attention experts warn that digital interruptions fragment focus and create cognitive load. When you hop between inputs, your brain pays a time cost to refocus. Minutes lost each time. The practical result: deep work erodes, tasks take longer, and your day feels like a string of half-actions. That's a physiological toll of the rewiring. And then there's the emotional layer. People report growing unease, frustration that they're busy but unfulfilled, concern about social connection, worry that skills are fading because habits are outsourced to algorithms. Public sentiment has shifted. More people are uneasy about AI's role in daily life, worried about how it shapes skills and social bonds. That unease is a signal. People sense the rewiring before they can name it. You can let that unease fester, or you can notice the pattern. Awareness is the first interruption to the automatic loop. When you see the nudges, you regain the capacity to answer them differently. The rest is tactical. Small, consistent moves that restore choice. Two quiet truths about this problem deserve emphasis. The first, AI isn't a villain in a movie. It's a mirror and a magnifier. It reflects patterns you give it, and it amplifies what it learns. That's what makes it so useful, and so quietly powerful. The second, control isn't about rejecting technology. It's about designing your interaction with it. You don't have to go cold turkey to reclaim the day. If you follow a few conscious steps, you can recenter priority over suggestion, intention over impulse. And that is the doorway we walk through in part 2. Awareness cracks the surface. Now you need practices that put you in the driver's seat again. The first practice is a simple map. Track your interactions for a day. Notice every prompt, recommendation, and notification that influenced what you did. Not with guilt, with curiosity. The point is to see the pattern, because you can't change what you can't see. Daniel's tracking revealed that nearly half his productive minutes started with an AI prompt. Sarah saw that peek at social feeds before breakfast set a sluggish tone for the entire morning. Once you map it, you can decide which nudges serve you and which don't. Rule 2. Put intentional boundaries around AI. This is not fear, it's design. Build focus windows into your day where AI is paused or muted. Schedule a 45-minute no AI morning block, a lunchtime walk with no feeds, or an afternoon deep work period where notifications are silenced. Experts in human-centered tech argue boundaries transform AI from a hidden director into a visible assistant by limiting when it has access to your attention. These boundaries do two things. They protect your deep work, and they create predictable habits that train the AI to respect your priorities. Third practice. Teach AI your priorities explicitly. Instead of accepting suggested tasks, input your top goals each week into the tools you use. Let the AI help you execute those goals, not invent new ones. If your assistant knows your top 3 outcomes for the week, it should nudge you toward actions that support those outcomes. Reversing the default direction of influence, priority to AI, not AI to priority, changes what gets served up in your feeds and task lists. Here are 3 micro-actionables you can try this week. First, for the next 7 days, keep a tiny nudge log, a single line in your notes every time you follow a suggestion from an app. At the end of each day, count how many were aligned with your goals. You'll be surprised how fast the pattern becomes clear. Second, schedule 1 uninterrupted hour each morning with no AI, no feeds, no push recommendations. Use it for a high-value task. Third, change one routine that the algorithms predict. Take a new route to work, switch the time you check email, or vary the order of your morning tasks. These small changes reduce algorithmic predictability and give your choices fresh weight. Pause and ask yourself, are these changes radical? Not really. They're disciplined, not dramatic. They're small acts of sovereignty over your day. The behavioral science behind these moves is simple. Break triggers, increase deliberate prompts, and restore control to the actor. The person, not the algorithm. The The Fogg behavior model shows behavior happens when motivation, ability, and a prompt align. Change the prompt and the behavior can change. Pattern interrupts are crucial. Every 2 to 3 minutes of passive scrolling, ask a short question. Am I choosing this, or was it suggested? Use that question like a speed bump. These micro-pauses are boring at first, but they quickly rewire reflexive responses into conscious choices. Daniel set a timer to stop after every exploratory session and used the question to decide whether to continue. The result was fewer wasted hours and more work aligned with client needs. Now the comparison that matters. When AI serves you, it accelerates your best work. When AI directs you, it accelerates engagement for the platform. The difference is intention. An assistant that understands your goals and nudges you only toward those goals is a multiplication of focus. An algorithm optimized for attention will always prefer novelty and consumption, because novelty increases time on platform. Your job is to flip the optimization objective. Change AI from maximizing your time on a platform to maximizing your outcomes. Beyond routines, add reflection. 10 minutes of journaling at the end of the day is cheap power. Ask, what choices were mine? Where did I follow a suggestion? What drained energy? What gave energy? Reflection builds meta-awareness faster than any app. Sarah and Daniel both used a nightly 10-minute log, and within weeks began to spot subtle trends. Small shifts that, left alone, produced weeks of misaligned work, and with attention, produced rapid correction. There are also technical moves worth making. Trim notifications to the essential. Audit permissions for apps that can serve recommendations. Use autopilot sparingly. Let automation handle repeatable, low-judgment tasks, and keep high-judgment tasks in your control. Think of AI as a set of tools. Calibrate them to your objectives and turn off anything that acts like a director. A bigger mental move. See routines as negotiable, not fixed. Rewiring isn't about resisting every nudge forever. It's about choosing which nudges you accept. Designate certain times for exploration and novelty, and keep others reserved for deep work and priorities. When novelty is scheduled, it becomes a reward instead of a saboteur. One honest friction. Some parts of modern life will always involve AI, navigation apps, calendar suggestions, search. The goal isn't elimination. The goal is sovereignty. You decide when AI plays a supporting role and when it doesn't. That sovereignty is a muscle you build with practice, not an instant state. Experts who study attention and technology emphasize that design matters. Technology can be humane or it can be extractive. You will feel better if you design for humane interaction. Clear boundaries, predictable rituals, and tools that reflect your values. Thought leaders who study persuasive design warn that systems designed to capture attention will do so unless you actively intervene. That's not a condemnation of the tools. It's an invitation to design better relationships with them. As you act, watch for the signs of reversal. You'll notice deeper focus, sharper task completion, and quieter evenings. You'll reclaim time that used to dissipate into minor activities. And importantly, you'll feel less like a passenger in your day and more like the driver. Finally, identity shifts matter. It's easy to change habits and keep the same identity. I'm someone who distracts. But identity is the force that makes habits stick. Reframe. I am a deliberate person who designs a day that serves my goals. That identity upgrade is small linguistically and huge practically. Act like the person you want to be. Design your tech to match that person's needs. Imagine waking 1 week from now and realizing your mornings are intact. Your deep work session completed, your energy steady, notifications handled on your terms. Imagine logging off and feeling the satisfaction of meaningful progress, not hollow busyness. That version of your day is possible because AI, for all its skill at shaping attention, can be made to reflect your priorities instead of replacing them. If you're ready to reclaim that day, start with awareness, set firm boundaries, teach your tools your priorities, and reflect nightly. Small experiments compound into a life that feels chosen, not optimized for engagement. The power you get back is not dramatic. It's cumulative and profound. If you're ready to evolve your mind, If you're ready to turn AI into an ally rather than an invisible director, this is your next step.